New Obi-Wan Kenobi show released today, and here are my thoughts. Ever since they announced Obi-Wan Kenobi as the show coming out, it's been my most anticipated TV show since. I feel like that's been the same with most people. Just giving my overall thoughts on the show so far, I feel like it's a nice introduction into Obi-Wan Kenobi, and it's a nice lead off from Revenge of the Sith, as there's been a big enough time gap in between the two, as they said it's 10 years. And we just get to see how Obi-Wan Kenobi has been living for the past 10 years and how he's been hiding, whilst also getting an in-look into the Inquisitors hunting all the Jedis as well. I think in the first two episodes, that's what it's done best so far, when it's given Obi-Wan Kenobi that time to reflect and to think about the past and what's happened, and also while he's trying to make sure that Luke's safe and nothing happens to him. Starting off with part 1, where in the opening credits it starts off with what looks like Order 66 inside the Jedi Temple, as some of the Jedis are trying to save the younglings. And every time you see new shots of Order 66 happening, I love that. I just love that part of Star Wars, just seeing different perspectives of Order 66. So that was a good introduction. Then we get to see the Inquisitors, and I think that works quite well, as we get to see why they say they're not Jedi hunters. The Jedis hunt themselves. They're too compassionate. They always have to help people. And we see that when the Jedi then reveals himself to help someone else. And also we get to see Reva and how she feels like this is beneath her. Just hunting any Jedi is not good enough. She has to go for the top ones. And I feel that works quite well, and that the prospect of just hunting any Jedi isn't good enough. You have to go for one of the main or one of the high influencing ones. We also get some flashbacks with Obi-Wan Kenobi, and then that just shows where he's been for the last 10 years. He hasn't really got over the events of it, and you can tell that Drew, when he was having a nightmare, and the fact that he thinks he's killed Anakin Skywalker, and that from the relationship they had to how it ended, you can still see that it affects him somewhat. And as I said earlier, I think that's what works best so far. When we get to see Obi-Wan reflect on the past of what happened in Revenge of the Sith, and also to see how he's been living from now for the last 10 years really. As when he spoke to the other Jedi later on, he said, just go out and live a normal life, forget all the Jedi stuff. And also with Kenobi, the Inquisitors made an example to say that the Jedis hunt themselves by being compassionate. And we can see where Kenobi really understands that and hasn't been compassionate in a way. As when the other Jedi asked for help, he was saying, just leave your ways, just live a normal life and you'll get through this. And also when they were asking to help save Leia, he didn't show that same compassion at the start. He said, I have to do my mission here, I don't want to go over. And as he knows what he needs to do to not get detected and to save or to protect Luke as well. And moving on into Princess Leia, and I didn't think this part worked as well. It was still enjoyable to watch. However, every time it went off to Princess Leia, it wasn't as interesting, it wasn't as intriguing. However, it was a nice surprise to see her in the show. Part of the reason why it didn't work so well for me as well, as it didn't feel like it was connecting at the start. It didn't feel like what Obi-Wan's story was saying and Princess Leia's story were able to connect together. And then towards the end, I could understand why they had so much of Princess Leia, but hopefully throughout the show it's more focused on Obi-Wan. And it also had a great ending with Obi-Wan Kenobi ending up getting his lightsaber to go out to find Princess Leia, and I thought that was just a nice way to end the first episode. And going into episode 2, I don't think it worked as well as episode 1. However, it was just Princess Leia and Obi-Wan Kenobi together trying to find their way back after Obi-Wan saves her. And as the whole kidnapping was a way of trying to trick Obi-Wan to get there. And also whilst that's happening, we get to see a clone trooper on the floor begging. And I thought that was a nice way just to include them, as I've always had the question. We've seen some of like Captain Rex and others cloned after Revenge of the Sith, but we don't really know what happened to the rest of them, or I don't really know what happens to all the other ones. So just seeing them in different settings and different scenarios, I thought that was a nice touch of just including the clones 10 years after what happened with Order 66. What are some of the clones, or not some, what are clones doing now as they'll still be around in that time? The longer the episode went on, I feel like the better it got. From Obi-Wan saving and protecting Princess Leia to him using the Force for probably the first time in 10 years, and just seeing literally in that moment all the concentration it took just to use the Force for that first time, and to the moment where Obi-Wan Kenobi heard that Anakin was still alive, and then you can just see all the emotion on his face during that moment. And I can't wait till next week's episode where we explore that even more. After 10 years of thinking that you killed the person you mentored, your friend, to now realizing that hearing that he's still alive. Hopefully in next week's episode they delve quite deep into that, like into how he reacts after hearing that news, and then we end off with seeing and hearing Darth Vader in the end. So overall, I think this is a good introduction into the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, and we have 4 episodes left after this. So let me know in the comments, did you enjoy the opening, and what do you think is going to happen in the rest of the series?